Welcome to Caleb's Story Shelf, where every story reveals a deeper truth. I'm Caleb, and today, I invite you to journey with me through a tale that just might shift the way you see the world. In the vibrant heart of Manchester, where glass towers shivered against cloudy skies and music spilled into the streets like lifeblood, lived a remarkable woman named Katherine. She moved through the city with purpose, as if its very rhythm echoed her heartbeat. The roar of buses, the laughter in alleyway cafes, and the murmur of dreams whispered through every corner. All of it formed the backdrop to her life. Katherine was not just a part of the city, she was woven into its essence. Where others saw chaos, she saw possibility. To her, the world was a vast, dynamic canvas, and each decision she made was a deliberate brushstroke, adding color, texture, and depth. She believed fiercely in her agency, her capacity to shape her fate through vision, discipline, and relentless effort. Success, in her mind, wasn't a reward for the fortunate, it was a pursuit. A battle waged daily in the choices she made and the risks she took. She faced each day with clarity, refusing to let fear dictate her path. Yet her climb was not without hardship. There were doors that refused to open, rooms where her voice was ignored, and ceilings that loomed heavy with silence. Systemic biases, invisible but unrelenting, shaped the terrain she had to cross. Social expectations urged her to conform, to settle, to be less. But Katherine rejected that narrative. She bore her scars with pride, using them as reminders of every obstacle she bested. Her setbacks became the scaffolding of her strength. Over time, her persistence bore fruit. From humble beginnings, she built a career marked by influence and impact. She rose through the ranks, not by blending in, but by standing out, with integrity, with excellence, and with an unwavering belief in her own worth. Financial stability followed, but it was the inner stability, the calm certainty of self, that she valued most. Across the city, in a quieter, less illuminated part of Manchester, lived Daniel. If Katherine painted his world in bold strokes, Daniel's was shaded in gray. He drifted through life as though caught in a current he couldn't control, while he too held dreams once, vivid, soaring dreams. The weight of the world had slowly pressed them into silence. He grew up surrounded by invisible walls, economic hardship, social disparity, a family stretched thin by survival. School was a place of routine, more than possibility. Society told him that certain doors would never open, that his place was predefined, that ambition was a luxury he could not afford. Daniel internalized these messages until they became part of his own narrative. He saw himself not as an actor in his life, but as a bystander, powerless against the tide. Each failure reinforced his doubts, and soon, even decisions as small as choosing a path forward felt paralyzing. Anxieties bloomed in the silence of his isolation, and the dreams that once stirred within him faded into faint echoes. And then he met Katherine. Their paths crossed during a local community initiative where Katherine had volunteered to mentor young professionals navigating early career barriers. To Daniel, she was an enigma, confident, clear-eyed, and unapologetically bold. But beneath her success, he saw something even more striking. A woman who understood struggle. A woman who had not only survived the storm, but learned to dance in its rain. Katherine didn't offer Daniel a miracle. She didn't speak in motivational cliches or paint over his pain. What she gave him was more powerful: belief. She listened. She challenged his perceptions. She asked him not what he wanted to do, but what he believed he could do, and why he thought he couldn't. Presence alone was a rebuttal to everything Daniel had been taught to accept. Slowly, tentatively, he began to challenge his own self-narrative. He began setting goals, small ones at first. He enrolled in a course he once thought out of reach. He started applying for jobs he believed were too good for him. He failed, then tried again. And with each step, a flicker of belief grew brighter. Pausing, Daniel began to unearth his own strength, a resilience born not in privilege but in perseverance. The more he leaned into the discomfort of change, the more he uncovered a capacity within himself that had always been there, hidden beneath the weight of doubt. Together, Katherine and Daniel began a journey, not just of achievement, but of awakening. They challenged each other. She taught him confidence, and he reminded her of the quiet strength in vulnerability. They shared late-night conversations about fear, identity, the invisible battles people fight, and the kind of legacy they each wanted to leave behind. Through this evolving partnership, they discovered that success is not simply about titles or wealth, but about self-authorship, the ability to define one's own path, no matter how treacherous the terrain. Their lives, once on separate tracks, began to intertwine into something more powerful, a shared mission. They became advocates for others like them, voices rising from the margins, daring to believe that a different future was possible. Of course, the road ahead would remain complex. The world would not suddenly become fair or easy. Systemic inequalities persisted. Biases still reared their heads. But Katherine and Daniel had found within themselves, and each other, the one thing that could never be taken, the belief that they mattered, that they could choose, and that they could build. And so, they moved forward, brush in hand, bold in spirit, painting their futures one brave stroke at a time. Thank you for sharing this moment. If the story moved you, please like, comment, and subscribe. Your support helps these stories reach those who need them most.